covering news where you live. This is 5 News.
Well, thank you for joining us here today for the latest news and weather where you live. I'm Joe Ellison. This morning, several McCurtain County officials have been suspended from the Oklahoma Sheriff's Association after audio clips of alleged threats were released. The Oklahoma Sheriff's Association says at an emergency meeting Tuesday morning, Sheriff Kevin Clardy and investigator Alicia Manning were unanimously voted to be suspended. It comes just days after audio clips were released where county officials allegedly made violent comments about 2 reporters from a local paper. Officials could also be heard making racist comments.
I want to tell you something. If it was back in the day, would Alan Marshall take a damn blackjack, whoop their ass and throw them in the cell, I'd run for sheriff.
Yeah. Well, it's not like that no more.
I know. We'll take them down here on Mud Creek and hang them up with a damn rope.
Yeah.
But you can't do
And
that.
the thing about it is,
they got more rights than we got.
Now, in a response, the McCurtain County Sheriff's Office calls the past 72 hours amongst the most difficult and disruptive in recent memory. Went on to say that the recording was altered and involves many victims, but have not yet produced evidence to back those claims. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt called for the officials to resign. And before we get to other news, let's get a check of the weather with meteorologist Zach Scott. Zach, another decent day before we have to start thinking about the weather on Thursday.
Yeah, pretty nice outside. We do have breezier conditions that have been picking up the last couple of days. We're also mixing in more clouds today. We've seen a lot of blue skies last few days. We're going more partly cloudy, upper 70s to lower 80s across the area. And again, those winds really picking up for us. They picked up yesterday. They're going stronger today. We're talking gusts 30 to 40 miles per hour for northwest Arkansas. As we go late morning, afternoon, you see them picking up there. I think gusts throughout the afternoon hours in the River Valley going to be more 20 to 30. And then again, more 25 to 35. Once you get south of the River Valley, you get in some of those higher ridges of the washdowns. We'd stay breezy as we go overnight here. Winds will relax a little bit more in the River Valley, but higher elevations to the north and to the south are going to keep those winds staying strong. It's going to continue to pump in more moisture and more warmer air. Temperatures will stay mild overnight. We're only falling once again, mostly into the lower 60s. We'll have a 10% chance of a stray shower going into tomorrow morning. We have better chances for showers as we work through the morning and into the afternoon hours. Cold front will start to come in. We can see some showers ahead of it. The front starts to move in northwest Arkansas 11, 12, 1 o'clock tomorrow. So going late morning into the early afternoon hours as it continues to push further southeast. We're going to see a little bit more instability, a little more daytime heating, trying to get going and trying to see those storms have at least the potential to tick up a little bit more. We are anticipating a few strong to severe storms around the area tomorrow afternoon. Damaging hail is the main threat with a few pockets of some damaging wind gusts. Secondary threat, lower threat, an isolated tornado can't be ruled out. Future track radar showing those showers coming in. This is jumping ahead to tomorrow. Mostly cloudy skies, some scattered showers. If we can stay cloudy and we can get some showers to develop out ahead of the front, that would help lower that instability across the area. There goes the front coming in. A few strong storms going to try to fire up some hail and some gusty winds for northwest Arkansas. Storms try to get a little bit stronger later in the day as they push further south towards Scott, Logan, Johnson, and Pope counties. The rain will continue to shift out of here and should be out of here by the time we head into the evening hours.
All right. Thanks so much, Zach. Well, this is a story we've been following all week. And this morning, we're learning more about the victim of a deadly stabbing at a home in Fayetteville. The victim now has been identified as Amy Joyner. Investigators say she was stabbed by her husband, Marcus Joyner. Police were called to the home on Thornhill Drive around 9:30 on Sunday night. According to a police report, Amy told dispatchers that her husband was intoxicated and being aggressive. Police say she stopped responding to the dispatcher and afterwards could be heard screaming for help. Amy was later found dead in the middle of the road. Marcus Joyner was eventually taken into custody and is now facing capital murder charges. And J.B. Hunt reporting a drop in revenue and profits in the first quarter of fiscal 2023. The company reported revenue of just over $3 billion, slightly more than 7% lower in the same quarter last year. J.B. Hunt's income was almost $200 million, a nearly 19% drop from a year ago. Shares of the company fell about 2% in after-hours trading Monday and nearly 1% yesterday. For the year-to-date, shares are up about 2%. Well, more than 70 veterans spend time in Washington, D.C. as part of the Oklahoma Warriors Honor Flights program. This is a look at video from when the group of veterans departed Tuesday morning from the airport in Tulsa. Organizers of the trip say a fundraiser helped send all 70 of the Oklahoma veterans on the special trip to D.C., where they spent the day visiting different memorials and monuments.
You reminisce back to the time when you were on active duty in the service when I served in Vietnam, and then we'll have about 6 veterans that are served on the Korean conflict, and even one World War II veteran. So it's very big.
The Oklahoma Warriors program comes at no cost to those veterans. You can find out how to refer a veteran for one of the honor flights by visiting oklahomawarriors.com. And the city of Fort Smith will begin a water rate study. City directors approved a resolution authorizing this study to determine if the city can handle current and future growth. The last water rate study was completed 13 years ago. No word yet, though, on how long it will take to conduct this survey. And city directors also finalizing plans to rename Fire Station 1 in downtown Fort Smith in honor of the department's late fire chief, Phil Christensen. Christensen served as Fort Smith Fire Chief since 2016 and had served as a firefighter since 1992. He died earlier this year after a battle with cancer. Well, this story here coming out of Crawford County, the Quorum Court approving a severance package for the previous library systems director back in February. Now, this happened amid heated discussions during many recent meetings on the availability of LGBTQ+ books at Crawford County libraries. And now this morning, a new resolution could restrict which books children can access in the Saline County, Arkansas library. Frederick Price is getting more clarity from the lawmaker who is behind this legislation.
Me and other legislators, the majority in fact, are concerned about what's happening culturally and want parents and others to have a voice.
During a Saline County Quorum Court meeting Monday, more than a dozen spoke against a resolution to restrict children's access to material deemed inappropriate by the public.
These ideas are out there, and we can't protect our children from every single dangerous idea.
While others were for it.
Now, I'm all for the resolution, but in my opinion, it's not enough. I want this crap out.
The approved resolution aligns with Act 372, legislation that amends the law concerning, quote, obscene materials in libraries.
All the bill does is set up an appeal process.
Republican Senator Dan Sullivan sponsored this bill. He tells me right now every public library has an existing appeal process, but this act, he says, allows local leaders to weigh in.
It includes the Quorum Court or the City Council, as the case may be, as the final arbiter of where books are placed.
Here's how the process works. Someone can make an appeal to a library director. The librarian makes their decision. If that person disagrees, they can go before the library board. After that decision is made and the person still disagrees, they can appeal it to elected officials. At that point, members of a city council or quorum court make the final determination.
And they appeal appropriateness of the book to where it's placed. Not whether it's obscene, not whether it ought to be banned.
And it's important to note that Sullivan says this act is meant to get the material out of easy accessibility to children and not just an outright ban on books.
Well, that was Frederick Price reporting. County officials say the law will go into effect July 1st. Well, thank you for joining us here today for some of your top news. I'm Joe Ellison. Make sure to catch up with us again tomorrow right here for more. Have a great day.